Episode 4, The Calling. Opening scene, the foggy oil rig. The episode opens with a sweeping aerial view over a fog-covered oil rig. The atmosphere is thick with mist, and the sound of machinery is drowned out by distant screams echoing across the water. As the camera pans down, we see a massive creature rising ominously from the depths. Towering 500 feet tall, this entity, known as the Calling, is partially obscured by the fog, revealing only its colossal legs submerged in the turbulent sea. The rig shakes as the Calling emits a deep, resonating call, a sound that seems to pierce the fog and draw the terrified workers toward it. They scream in panic, some stumbling into the frigid water, as the creature continues to rise, its foot crushing one of the oil rig's support beams. Cut to Bandit Town. The scene transitions to a desolate bandit town, where the atmosphere is heavy with dread. A dilapidated swing set creaks in the wind, and a dead body swings lifelessly from the chains. Shadows move in the corners, and we catch a glimpse of the Silence, a tall, ghastly creature known for its unsettling presence. Its movements are accompanied by eerie sounds that seem to warp the air around it. Elmo Cassis, a local cannibal, appears in the forest wielding a rusty machete. His demented grin hints at his twisted nature as he stalks the woods. The camera focuses on a wounded individual limping through the underbrush, blood trailing behind them. Elmo's hunt. As the wounded person nervously whistles to themselves, they unwittingly walk into one of Elmo's traps. The snare tightens, and before they can react, Elmo lunges from the shadows, piercing the victim with his machete. The camera follows Elmo as he drags the body back to his lair, leaving a gruesome trail of blood. Cut to the gym. Next Gen and Mimic spar. The scene shifts back to a gym where Next Gen and Mimic are engaged in a sparring match. Mimic is on the defensive, letting Next Gen land blows while he skillfully dodges. Their playful banter is filled with tension as Mimic tries to prove himself. In a climactic moment, Mimic attempts a final strike, but Next Gen effortlessly grabs the sword, breaking it in half with a flick of his wrist. The sound of shattering metal echoes in the gym as Mimic is sent sprawling across the floor. Mimic's surrender. Shaken and humiliated, Mimic kneels before Next Gen, who looms over him. "I just wanted to form a group," Mimic pleads, his eyes wide with desperation. Next Gen grabs Mimic's shirt and leans in closer, threateningly whispering, "If you ever try that again, I'll make your wish come true." As Next Gen walks away, Mimic calls out, genuinely remorseful, "I'm sorry, I want to join your group." Next Gen glances back, considering the offer. Cut to Dr. Kirker's laboratory. The scene shifts to a dimly lit laboratory where Dr. Kirker is bent over a table, meticulously mixing lizard DNA with human samples. His determination is palpable as he prepares to create a hybrid known as the Lizard Man. The syringe glimmers in the flickering light as he injects the concoction into a specimen. The nearby radio crackles to life, broadcasting news of destruction at the local space FDA bases. Kirker's eyes narrow in realization. He knows who is behind the chaos. Kirker's arsenal. In a montage of creativity and madness, Kirker devises various weapons, including a gun modeled after Wild Western dance technology. He scribbles notes feverishly, documenting his experiments and findings while muttering to himself in a deep, sinister tone. As Kirker dons his chemical suit, he reflects on his past encounters with Next Gen, revealing the dark motivations behind his twisted experiments. The camera lingers on his face, highlighting the obsession that drives him. Next Gen's antics. Back in the gym, Next Gen and Mimic engage in lighthearted banter, with Next Gen breaking the fourth wall to make humorous observations about their situation. Mimic, confused, mutters, "Why is this guy breaking the fourth wall?" Suddenly, a loud crash disrupts their conversation. The ground shakes as a titan stomps through the streets, crushing everything in its path. Next Gen, unfazed, disappears and reappears behind the titan. With a swift motion, he grabs the titan by the ankle and throws it like a toy into the sea. The titan's fate. The titan flails in the water, struggling to stay afloat as several massive creatures, including a gigantic megalovania, swarm around it, tearing it apart with brutal efficiency. The camera captures the chaos as the titan disappears beneath the waves, leaving only ripples behind. Cut to Dimension Z. The scene cuts to Dimension Z, where Inklings, bizarre blob-like creatures, observe a menacing figure in the distance. They gasp as a shadow creature, reminiscent of the Shadow Man, prowls the landscape, hunting its prey. This creature is smaller than the Shadow Man but equally terrifying, with glowing features that betray its predatory nature. Back to reality, brutal fatalities. The episode shifts back to the reality dimension, showcasing brutal fatalities among different life forms. We see glimpses of carnage as bloodthirsty sharks tear through the water and cannibals raid a city, dragging victims into the shadows. Next Gen and Mimic in Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, Next Gen and Mimic discuss their recent challenges. Mimic admits he feels out of place in their group. I don't even know why I'm here, he confesses. As they talk, a cannibal appears, breaking through a glass window and lunging at them. The fight. Eric, who has joined them, reacts quickly. He grabs the cannibal by the face and slams him to the ground, knocking him unconscious. 2 hours later, we find ourselves in Next Gen's newly built base, which stands tall and fortified. Mimic keeps a watchful eye on the cannibal, who is tied up and regaining consciousness. Introducing the cannibal. As the cannibal wakes, he finds Eric and Mimic standing over him. Mimic introduces himself. My name is Mimic, and this tall guy behind me is Next Gen. Eric, towering and confident, asks the cannibal his name. I don't know, the cannibal replies, his eyes vacant. I haven't had a name for 26 years. Next Gen, intrigued, says, I need you with us. We've heard rumors about someone who's been eating people. Mimic adds, yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? A theory on cannibalism. As they converse, Mimic suggests a theory. Maybe cannibals don't see humans the same way we do. They might see us as animals. He looks at the cannibal closely, examining his slit-like pupils. What do you see right now? He asks. Butterflies and pumpkins and pigs all around me, the cannibal replies, confused. Except for you, master. You don't look like any animal. Next Gen contemplates this insight. Interesting, he mutters. Tensions rise. Later, as the cannibal observes Mimic, a flicker of hunger ignites within him. Suddenly, he lunges at Mimic, attempting to bite him. Hey, Eric exclaims, grabbing the cannibal by the shoulders and shoving him away. What's your deal attacking one of our own? I'm sorry, the cannibal pleads, fear and hunger evident in his voice. I'm really hungry. What do you eat? Eric presses. Pigs, deer, buffalo. The cannibal suggests. Eric frowns. No, you eat humans. The cannibal looks genuinely perplexed. I don't see them. I see pigs. Next Gen, realizing the situation's gravity, declares, okay, Mimic, go hunt a human for him. The hunt for food. Mimic hesitates but ultimately agrees. All right, I'll find something for you, he says, stepping out of the base. 2 hours later, blood and chaos. The episode cuts to Mimic returning, covered in fresh blood, a satisfied grin on his face. He wipes his hands on his clothes, the gory evidence of his hunt splattered everywhere. As the camera pans back, we see the cannibal in the distance, eyes glinting with excitement. The episode closes with a chilling shot of a dark figure lurking in the shadows of the trees, watching them intently. Ending scene, the dark figure. The scene fades out on the figure, which we know to be Shadow Man, moving stealthily between the trees, its ominous presence looming over the unsuspecting trio. Finally, I found them. Episode 5, The Creation of the Lizard Man. Opening scene. The episode begins with a panoramic view of a destroyed city in Dimension X, focusing on a grand statue of creation. As the camera zooms in, the statue starts crumbling, pieces falling to the ground, and revealing a figure within. This figure rises, revealing himself as Creation, a legendary being who has resided in this dimension for 20 years since defeating evil. He looks around, feeling the weight of his past battles. Creation meets Wild Western. Creation turns to Wild Western, who is nearby. Wild Western, who are you? Creation, I've been called here because of multiple disturbances. Wild Western, what's your name? Creation, I don't know my name anymore. It's been too long since I destroyed evil. Just call me Creation. Introduction of Cartoon Gen. As they converse, a quirky, 4-foot-tall character named Cartoon Gen appears, looking like a cartoon character from a kid's show. Wild Western, what the hell is that thing? Cartoon Gen pulls out a stick of dynamite and begins dancing around Creation, prompting Wild Western to duck for cover. Creation, what is this madness? Cut to reality, human planet. The scene transitions to the human planet, where beings are suffering and dying in gruesome ways. The most recent victim, Shin Sonic, a giant sonic creature, attempts to gather more humans but is struck down by a massive laser beam, killing him instantly. The chaos highlights the dangers lurking in this universe. Titan Shadow Creature. The camera shifts to Dimension Z, showcasing the shores where a new creature, the Clicker Puss, a massive, inky octopus, prowls the waters. It becomes prey to a terrifying Titan Shadow Creature, which is the same size as the Clicker Puss. The Titan hunts down the creature, emphasizing the constant cycle of predators and prey in this world. Transition to Dimension X, Cold Canada. Back in Dimension X, we see a cold region resembling Canada. A character named Diana stumbles through the snow, infected by an unknown virus. She collapses against a tree, fully succumbing to the infection, highlighting the dire state of the dimension. Space FDA base. Inside a high-tech base, a group of members discusses the ongoing threat. Member 1, we've been down for years, and all our attempts to stop him have failed. Member 2, he just blocks everything with his bare gloves. Member 3, what is he, anyway? Leader, his origins trace back to a species of humans born from Adam and Eve. They are not aliens, they're perfect humans, clean genes, capable of reproduction with us. Discussion of legendary beings. The conversation shifts to two legendary beings, Juliet, a seemingly weak pug, and Shaggy, from Scooby-Doo, who possesses extraordinary strength. Their battle supposedly created the universe. Scene on the island. Cut to an isolated island where a person is running for their life. Heavy breaths echoing in the air. Behind them, the S-Rex, a formidable dinosaur, roars and charges through the foliage. The chase is intense, showcasing the S-Rex's immense size and speed as it closes in on the terrified individual. The attack. Back in the forest, Eric, Next Gen, Mimic, and Cannibal are out hunting when they encounter the lizard man. The creature emerges from the darkness, launching an attack. Eric, stop. Stay back. As the lizard man lunges at Eric, he is caught off guard. Lizard man attacks, tearing at Eric with sharp claws. Mimic, Eric. In a desperate move, Eric fires an Icon blast at the lizard man, but it's too late. He struggles as the creature inflicts serious wounds, leaving him torn apart. Aftermath of the attack, Mimic and Cannibal rush to help Eric, their faces filled with panic. Cannibal, we have to get him out of here. They carefully place Eric's severed body parts into a wagon as they make their way back to their base. Back at the base. Inside the base, the team works frantically to reassemble Eric. Eric, if you hadn't stepped on my shoe, we could have avoided that. Mimic, I'm sorry, it caught me by surprise. I can't see in the dark. Cannibal, yeah, I'm sorry too. It was unexpected. Plans for the future. As Eric is slowly being put back together, he examines himself and realizes that the lizard man has slowed down his healing factor. Eric, it might take 2 episodes to fully recover, but I have an idea. You should both head to the local science lab to find out the origins of this lizard man. I might have an idea who created it. Episode ends. The episode concludes with Mimic and Cannibal leaving the base on their mission while Eric remains behind to recover, setting the stage for the next episode. Episode 6, Dimension G, Clash of Titans. Opening scene, Dimension A, visuals. The episode opens with a sweeping shot of Dimension A, showcasing its diverse landscapes. A voiceover hints at the mysteries and dangers lurking within various dimensions. Scene 1, Training in Dimension G, location. The scene transitions to Dimension G, specifically a high-tech training gym where Goku and Vegeta train fiercely, showcasing their unparalleled skills. Action. They exchange powerful blows, demonstrating their rivalry and determination to push each other to new heights. Zeno's perspective. Meanwhile, Zeno watches from a distance, holding a cosmic competition to determine which realities and galaxies will survive, blissfully unaware of the greater threats outside his universe. Scene 2, The Science Lab Heist. Location. The setting shifts to a dark, high-tech science lab, guarded heavily. Characters. Mimic and Cannibal stealthily infiltrate the facility. Mimic uses his shape-shifting abilities to blend in while Cannibal employs brute force to take down unsuspecting guards. Action. The duo skillfully maneuvers through the lab, finally reaching a secure area labeled Project G. Inside, they find files detailing a horrific creature known as the Lizard Man. Scene 3, The Revelation, dialogue. As they sift through the documents, they discover that the mastermind behind the Lizard Man is Dr. Kirker, a notorious mad scientist and Next Gen's rival for over 20 years. Chaos unleashed. Suddenly, they hear terrifying screams echoing through the hall as guards flee in panic. Mimic and Cannibal exchange worried glances, realizing something is amiss. Scene 4, The Book Rider's Attack, introduction. The mysterious figure known as the Book Rider strides into the lab, writing the events in real time. He pulls out a flamethrower and unleashes chaos upon the guards. Action sequence. Mimic and Cannibal watch as the Book Rider mercilessly ignites the lab, creating a blazing inferno. Narrow escape. Deciding they can't stay, the duo makes a break for it, dodging flames and debris as they narrowly escape the explosion that engulfs the lab. Scene 5, Return to base, setting. Back at their base, Mimic and Cannibal relay their findings to Next Gen, dialogue. Next Gen reflects on Dr. Kirker's genius, stating, I can't die because I was torn to pieces. Kirker may have brains, but at least I'm smarter than him. I just can't move. Reactions. Mimic and Cannibal look shocked, asking, what do you mean you can't die? Next Gen explains, look at me. I was torn to pieces. I can't die. Scene 6, A Glimpse of the Future, transition. The scene shifts to a desolate plane of existence, where Shaggy and Juliet are engaged in a fierce battle. Their fight is interrupted by God, who demands they cease fighting. Scene 7, A Terrifying Encounter, setting. Back in Dimension G, a S-Rex prowls an island, stalking a mysterious character named Sergeant Captain. Action. The S-Rex quickly dispatches a pack of Von Raptors, showcasing its dominance, and lets out a triumphant roar amidst the bloodshed. Scene 8. The Titan Worm in Dimension X, cut scene, transition to Dimension X, where a gigantic Titan worm crashes into a city, wreaking havoc and devouring everything in its path. Legendary creature. After 20 years of destruction, the legendary creature that finally takes down the Titan worm is revealed to be clarified, a massive hybrid of crocodile and shark with tentacles. Scene 9. The Space FDA, back at the Space FDA base, members argue about Next-Gen's absence and piece together that Dr. Kirker has unleashed monstrous creatures upon their world. Their investigative teams have mysteriously vanished. Scene 10. Sergeant Captain's triumph, return of Sergeant Captain. After a narrow escape from the S-Rex, Sergeant Captain manages to return to the mainland. He faces an immortal life form, using his wits and combat skills to ignite a sword and slay the creature, confrontation with Dr. Kirker. Just as he believes he's safe, Dr. Kirker appears. They engage in an intense battle, but Kirker's advanced robotic suit gives him an edge. He punches Sergeant Captain into the forest. Scene 11. The final stand, waking in the forest. Sergeant Captain awakens in the forest, fully healed. He prepares for a rematch by igniting his knife, ready to face Kirker again, cliffhanger ending. The scene cuts back to Mimic and Cannibal, who are walking to another base, when they suddenly sense an ominous presence nearby. The episode ends on a cliffhanger, showing Sergeant Captain readying himself for his confrontation with Dr. Kirker.